have learned the Poi Mercedes. Now what comes next? Drex here from Drex Factor Poi, sharing with you the love of poi spinning and flow arts to benefit your body and brain. And today, we are going to dive into what comes next after you learn that classic poi hybrid, the Mercedes. Before we dive in, I just want to give a quick shout out to the friends of the channel. Big thanks to Dark Monk, Flow DNA, Flow Fests, Flow Toys, Juggling Calling, Pyroterra Light Toys, Spinballs, and Ultrapoi for helping to make the videos on this channel possible. You can learn more about all these amazing companies and the work that they're doing to support flow artists like yourself by checking out the links that I've got down in the description of this video. And a special thanks to the first non-business friend of the channel, Johnny Howard. Thanks so much for your support, Johnny. So, you know how it goes. You've just learned a new poi trick, and there's a million other things that you could go spend your time on, but you're just like, I just spent all of this time on this one thing. I don't want to jump to all the other things out there. Well, you are in luck, because in a lot of cases, it turns out that there are things that you can learn based upon the knowledge that you've already accrued from that one trick. It's not quite a tutorial, it's not quite a combo, it's what comes next, and I'm hoping it fills in the gaps for some of y'all out there. And today's video came as a request from Jacob Stiver. That's right, we are diving into the Poi Mercedes. I'm actually kind of excited about this one, and I'll tell you why. So learning the Poi Mercedes was actually a watershed moment in my development as a poi spinner. Not only because I had to use some pretty advanced techniques in order to get the trick down in the first place, but because it opened up some possibilities that I didn't even know existed and helped me realize some ways in which a bunch of different tricks that I really liked were linked in ways that I couldn't imagine. So if you will permit me the indulgence, in this video I'm going to take you through a brief history of that evolution that I went through after I learned the Mercedes, mainly because some of the stuff that comes out of it is so incredibly cool and made me feel like I finally understood a whole bunch of tech poi as a result. So for our first entry on this list, we are going to check out one of those classic transitions that I spent way too much time obsessing about when I was a younger poi spinner, and that is the transition between the Mercedes and wall playing caps on either side of your body. Now, I can't remember who I first saw doing this, but I do know that as soon as I saw it, I wanted to have it for myself. Between the fact that it has this interesting symmetry to it and also how cool that transition back and forth is, there's also something that's just so satisfying about switching back and forth between the sides of the body like this trick does. It also was a trick that sent me down such a rabbit hole as I was working to understand the basics of tech poi, trying to figure out why exactly it was that I could have this 3-pedal anti-spin in a Mercedes that meshed up with these 2 caps over on the sides of me that seemed to suggest a 4-pedal anti-spin. As it turned out, the answer was at that top pedal, you're switching back and forth between these 2 orientations of anti-spin flowers. Yeah, sorry me from the past, that took me way too long to figure out. Now I just like it because, quite frankly, there's something that feels really powerful about it. It's also a great transition that works for things like tunneling and partner poi and all that, to say nothing of the fact that being able to do it for an audience really just tends to get the energy up for them. Highly recommended. So things are going to get a little weird for this next one, and I'm honestly not even sure that it has a name per se. I think of it as just being the pentagram polyrhythm, and I think you'll understand why when you see it at work. So this takes a lot of the work that you had to do in order to learn the Mercedes, namely the idea of having to connect together different portions of an anti-spin flower with another poi that was moving around them, but it adds a degree of complexity because instead of that core pattern being a triangle, it's now a pentagram instead. Now, of course, this also adds some complexities to things because when you're doing a pentagram, of course, your hand has to complete 2 cycles of the hand path before you have fully completed that pentagram. This also means that you wind up doing more beats with the hand that is not doing the pentagram, and so I really can't call it an extension-based hybrid, but, well, it still works, right? As you can imagine, this also becomes a gateway for, quite frankly, putting together any pattern that involves connecting together a bunch of straight lines in order to create a new poi hybrid that can either be a polyrhythm or not, depending upon what you're looking for. Hey friends, So before I give you my final pick for what comes next after you learn the Mercedes, I do have a huge favor to ask. And that is, if you've come this far, it probably means that you're really into poi spinning and tricks and flow arts and everything. And if that's the case, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to my channel. Not only does it help other people find these videos, but it also helps my channel grow, which is awesome. And also, please too, go ahead and leave me a comment with a request for other tricks that I can do a what comes next on. All these videos come from the stuff that you all are asking for. So do leave a comment. Thanks in advance. And now for my #1 pick of what comes next after you learn the Mercedes. Yeah, it's Zan's Diamond. I know, this seems like quite a leap, but stick with me here because there is actually a through line here. Okay, so as it turns out, that work that we were doing in the last entry to get down that pentagram-based polyrhythm hybrid, well, that's the same work that goes into putting together Zan's Diamond, which really, if you think about it, is really just an 8-pointed star pattern. There's a variety of different ways that you can construct that geometrically, and Zan's Diamond just happens to be one of the algorithms. There was actually an aha moment for me that came as I was playing around with the Mercedes. I realized that I could connect together neighboring Mercedes at a single point, and once my mind had crossed that threshold, I realized that all Zan's Diamond was 4 interlocking Mercedes. How about that? This really opened up the door for me, getting down a whole bunch of more advanced patterns that to this day have been an underpinning of how I understand tech poi and the ways that you can link together different poi tricks. And that's why it's my #1 pick for what comes next after you learn the Mercedes. Hey, real quickly, I just want to throw out a huge thank you because this video would not be possible without the kind support of these amazing folks right here. These are my Flow patrons over on Patreon, and they, along with the wonderful people listed down in the description, help to make this video and all the videos on my channel possible. Do you like poi content? Do you like vlogs? Do you like tutorials? Do you like what comes next? I am trying to bring the love of poi spinning and flow arts to the wider world, and you know what? I would love to have your help to do it. You can do that by heading on over to patreon.com/DrexFactorPoi and signing up. You can do that either by clicking on the link that's down in the description of this video or on the cards as they happen to pop up if you're watching on YouTube. Doing this will get you early access to all of my content as well as a say in what topics I tackle in the future, plus some great extras and behind the scenes content as well. So please go check that out. Thanks in advance. What were your favorite tricks that you learned after the Mercedes? Was anything that I featured on this list among that list for you? I'd love to know. Leave me a comment and let me know what that process looked like for you. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and leave a link to a playlist of other videos in this series down in the description or up on screen if you happen to be watching on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching. Please get outside and get your flow on today, and I will see you with a new video on Monday. Peace.